Hello, hi, and welcome again to the Terminal Podcast, where in the end, it's all about the numbers. We are broadcasting high above Civic Center Station, and tonight's podcast is looking back to 2018 and the original publication of the Rap Debut Album Tournament, or the RDAT. Tonight is the finals of the groups bracket brought to you by our corporate champion, political advertising. I don't know about you guys, but the most recent ads that I'm getting alerts me my current senator voted for a bill that increased taxes by $2,100. $2,100. That's enough for 3 months of groceries. Yeah. One, two intros with your name, where you're zooming from, and what you think when you hear $2,100. That's 3 months of groceries. Uh, Brian,
Live from our beautiful nation's capital. 2,100 for groceries.
3 months.
Yeah, I don't think 3 months. And I live above Walmart, so I got the whole discount. And yeah, I can do nothing downstairs for 3 months with $2,100.
All right. Dan,
Hey, I'm Dan calling in from the illustrious borough of Fair Lawn, New Jersey. I mean, 2,100 for 3 months of groceries. So what is that, like 700 a month for groceries?
essentially, yeah.
I mean, that's not insane, uh, I guess. I mean, I'm trying to think what I spend. It's probably close to that.
Okay. Kenny,
So fine.
oh,
This is Kenny
all right.
calling in from Atlanta, and 2,100 doesn't sound unreasonable. I guess it's same thing. I would say $700 a month. That sounds about right.
Mhm. Ed,
My name's Ed. I'm calling from Brooklyn, best borough in the world. Brooklyn all day, every day. Man, with that kind of money, I'm not thinking 3 months. I'm going ham at Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, let me get a little bit of everything. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I don't have kids too, so like I can make it work. I feel like that's a lot of mac and cheese I can make work.
I mean, I guess that's why I look at it differently because I'm going, that's $2,100. That's a rent. I'd pay that, and then I just skim for the $100 for 3 months. That's fine. I'm okay. I didn't have to do anything for that. I just, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking a different mindset. I don't eat that much anymore. It's a different mindset in trying to judge these classic albums that we're now getting down to when you get in the finals of a debut album tournament and you start talking about Enter the Wu-Tang and Southern Playalistic Cadillac. It's just two of the greats, and it's different to judge such things. So, as is in this day and age, I went to the interweb and I just asked the interweb how to judge classic albums. And when you do that in Google nowadays, the first thing that pops up is the AI overview. And it says the AI overview and everything like that. And then there's articles underneath it. Uh, Being a former journalist, it was a long time ago since I got that degree, but I still do use it. So I'll go down to the articles and read those and kind of get a glimpse. But then when you come back, the four things at the top are pretty much the things that were said in the articles. And they are, is the album a groundbreaking or original album, so much so that it was that much of a standout, was something like that. That's one factor in how to judge these classic albums. The longevity of it, how, I mean, it was great when it came out, but how long has this thing lasted as we moved on? What was the cultural impact of this album? Like, what is the kind of thing of it, just what did it do to, I don't even know. I can't even say it. The cohesiveness, which I'm failing to show off, is also another aspect of those four. How did it sound in one way the entire way and everything along those lines? Those are the four. The fifth that I brought up after seeing AI and others say the article is the length. So should length be the fifth element? Is the question I pose, and I'll start it in our nation's capital with Fuzz.
So I gave this a little thought. I kind of feel like, I mean, obviously, if we want to be technical, length matters because we're not talking. If it didn't, we wouldn't have an EP. So,
Hmm.
but I'm assuming we're talking about full length albums. But
Mhm.
I would say I don't I don't necessarily think it's a big factor. I feel like it's more of like how many skips it is. And I feel like almost like a shorter playlist could have a little bit of an advantage on it. But that's kind of my take on it. I think it could be a good like tiebreaker. Like tonight is might have to come down to a
Well,
tiebreaker for me at least.
well,
So
but
I don't think it's the biggest factor in judging the album. No.
Kenny, length, how
Same.
important is the, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Same, absolutely. I judge it by how many songs I got to skip. If I have to skip any intros or interludes or anything like that, if I could just press play and let it rock from beginning to end, then that ranks really high for me.
Ed, when we're saying length, though, when I hear length and being able to play, definitely being able to just go start to finish and let it roll, is important. But how long it is kind of the question. You know what I mean? Like if it's 40 minutes or if it's an hour and 15, and you're still able to go all the way through.
Uh,
Ed, you all right?
sorry, I'm sorry.
Nah, I was trying not to laugh at it, but I thought Ed, I was like, damn it.
Almost
Phrasing.
was,
That's what I'm gonna say. Phrasing. I'm not gonna be like Cam and Mace. Phrasing. Oh man, I was trying to get through that without
I skipped
time.
over and I missed it. So go ahead.
Oh man, phrasing. I don't think that length of album matters as much today. I think it mattered more back in the day when we had CDs and long plays when you were physically getting out of your off your couch and going to the store and dropping $15 to $20 depending on the CD or how new it was. I think back then because you were counting it on a sense of dollars and cents and time. Nowadays, with streaming, with YouTube, I don't think length of album matters. And even nowadays, I saw I forgot which band it was. I want to say I think it was Shadow Swall, the lead singer of Shadow Swall had said that he doesn't even plan albums nowadays. They just
Uh,
create
And
singles that become albums. And
that's the
so
other
I
part of this, which is that this isn't the way music is even consumed anymore. Like
mhm.
Dan, the thought of the thought of the Wu-Tang Clan, the thought of you honestly, I was able to put this in this category because Method Man hadn't released anything, Raekwon hadn't released anything, Ghostface hadn't released anything. You got all of these artists in today's culture, all of them would have had an EP, all of them would have had, posted something and everything like that. Dan, just talk to me about the fact that all of these artists are in these one on this one album, and yet the length of it's not that long.
Well, I think that's what as we're getting into like the why this album was so good and why it's remains good when you listen to it now. I think you had like there's mystique around the members, like because they all it seemed like to me anyway, when I was in high school at the time, like this came out of nowhere. This wasn't like, you heard multiple guest verses and like we are ready for this. I was just like one day there's this album. It's like, holy, this is crazy. And then like they had the mixed in like, 5%er language and like the mathematics and all this other stuff. Like so it just sounded like nothing else. Like so we had this mystique going on with it. I think I mean it's funny because that no one's ever pulled this off again having this many people on the album, but like the fact that everyone was comfortable with not being on the album for the entirety of the hour and whatever it was, like that, like it doesn't get boring on the song. And I hear like the same guy doing the same, like where
Mm.
length becomes a problem if the songs get repetitive. And like length became a problem when they were doing like those bloated double albums. Like Wu-Tang's second album was like, one good album with one bad album mixed together. Like so, it's
Together.
Yeah.
those are when he has a problem. When it gets to when you have like a fairly normal like 12 track hour or so album, and give or take a minute or two doesn't really matter. But it doesn't. I think everyone's saying, do I want to skip these songs? And like, am I getting bored? But like, is it just the same song, 10 variations of it, or is it something kind of different? And Wu Tang had it going for him. Like none of the MCs sounded exactly alike. Like had distinct voices and flows and styles, and like it was just. I mean, again, certain ones stood out more. I mean, no one's like really pining for more You God content, but like so many of them
Shots
were like
fired.
distinct and good, and like it was great. So like that, I think that's what the length thing. Like, but I don't think to your point. I think you're right. Today, like you would have got, like, they would have been putting stuff out to like tease the album and like get interest in the group and everything. Like that doesn't that was not available to them as much in the 90s.
Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, well, nothing seemingly. for where we grew up in northern New Jersey, where you guys were in Brooklyn, and Kenny, you were here and everything like that. So I guess right, you were able to kind of when OutKast was coming out, that wasn't as brand new to you as it was to us, right? Or am I imagining that wrong?
It
Oh, that's
actually
right.
was because
You were up you were up
the
with
tail
us.
end exactly.
I
I
forgot.
think I moved to North Carolina right before Wu-Tang started to drop. But
Okay.
yeah, Outkast was totally different because up until the time that they dropped, my exposure to Southern music was basically Luke Skywalker, Two Live Crew, Poison Clan, and all the
Mm.
booty shaking stuff. So it was cool to to have a good time, but it was something I never really took seriously until Outkast came along. And it was like, wow, these dudes are from the South and they're actually rhyming and it sounds good. So yeah, that was pretty much what I looked at when Outkast dropped.
I'd argue that the Ghetto Boys and My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me, just because between the video and you know what I mean. So there's obviously some that would say Scarface. I never searched for Scarface is the best way I could describe it. You know what I mean? It was
Absolutely.
like I understood he was out. I understood he was great. You know, I feel like that same way with like Bun B. I recognize that he's great. I'm not searching for Bun B music. You know what I mean? It's just I'm also not searching for a lot of other people's music, but that's just me. Um, I'm I guess I could argue I'm searching for what's great because that's just an easy way to transition to. Both the albums we're talking about tonight are great. So to reach this final eight and what's left is pretty much just a lot of really great albums. So it's a lot easier to kind of say than what is better than or anything like that. It's like, what do you like about this album is basically what we're going to have is the easiest way to describe this. So the first suggestion, the first game of rounds we're going to play is your number one track. And the way this is going to work is you can't repeat. There's no repeats allowed. So if we're going to go in the order I decide, and if somebody takes your chosen track, you can take somebody. You can either pick another one or you can just skip. So we will start with OutKast and Southern Playalistic because I haven't talked enough about that. So, Kenny, what's your number one track on OutKast debut album?
I love the title track, Southern Playalistic, Cadillac Funky Music.
Thoughts about it? I was going to say, just know that's it.
That's well, once again it was different. I love the beat, the flow was great. Even the video was fantastic. Just a nice vibe, and that's what kind of stuck with me about it.
Now, hold on a sec. You're going to take. All right.
Well, I thought we
Uh,
were saying so. I may have misunderstood the question. Are we saying you were saying pick the number one track from Outkast album or just
no,
overall, just both albums?
from their rookie album, from that debut album, from
You
Southern
did.
Playalistic
Yeah, I
Cadillac. So
did.
that's what I
Yeah,
I
said.
said the
Okay.
yeah,
title
he
All
track.
right.
did.
All
Yeah.
right. I'm just confirming that. That's all. Okay. All right. As
Yeah.
long as everybody's confirmed with that track, then Ed, you can go next from that same
my
Outcast album.
my favorite track from that album is Crumbling Herb. I think it's pretty obvious why. Well, honestly
Mm.
though, but going on that, I never heard that kind of sound before. To me, I was introduced to Outkast at Boston University. My next door neighbor, Mike Fox, was a running back at the time, backup running back for Boston University. He heard me listening to Biggie next door. He lived next door to me, and he was like, "Yo, you listening to that whack shit?" And I took offense to it being from Brooklyn. And he's like, "Yo, I got something for you." And that's when he dropped Southern Playalistic. The first song I remember hearing was Southern Playalistic. But as the album kept going and going, the one that really that mellow flow that really stuck out to me was Crumbling Herb. It's just something peaceful but party vibe. It's kind of the perfect stoner song in some ways, just because like you
Mm.
could just spark an L to that and just let that song ride out, man, and you're in a good
All right.
place.
Fuzz.
I'm gonna say Kenny took mine, and then Kenny's like explanation is kind of like the same explanation I'd use for my true number two. So I'm gonna go away from that and go with Get Up and Get Out.
Wow. That's a
Wow,
I'm
I
upset
got
because that's
three
that's
mine.
jobs, man. Some of y'all
I'm
got to get
upset
up
because
and get
that's
out.
mine. I'm upset because that's
I
mine.
got
Like
three jobs. When
really.
y'all know me to have one job. I didn't even have one job in college. Come on
no,
now.
no,
Get up,
nah.
get
You
out, get
you
something.
You got that Jamaican man and you that gene in
Listen,
you.
all my parents did for me was give me work ethic, and now I'm like, what am I supposed to do with all this work ethic? Like, it's just it doesn't
Right.
translate to money. All it doesn't translate to money.
Dan?
So being last, some of them I might have said the others, but I'll go with my intro to let you know. I like a strong like opening salvo on an album, and that one like gets your attention pretty quick. I think like it just you get just them. Like I think the beats really. It's probably like the on the album like the least of the just pure funky stuff. Like it's got a little bit of like old hip hop like scratching to it and things like that. So I thought that was kind of like a cool way of like we're going to ease you into this a little bit, but tell you how great we are as rappers. That's why I like that one.
Uh-huh. Y'all realize that no one took players ball, right?
I was going to. That's the one I was referencing.
That's actually
Okay.
my number 3. My number
Okay.
2 is Hootie Hoo.
I just didn't
I'm
want it to be
Hootie
mega
Hoo. Sorry.
repetitive because
no,
my
no,
my
which is fine.
explanation would have been just like Kenny's.
I'm alerting everything like that because that is the other part of this album, which is you guys just named 4 completely different songs, and the most quote famous song off the album being Players Ball was not mentioned at all. So yeah. And Hootie Who's up there and everything like that. Yeah, no, it's it's a it's why it's on this list. So we'll go over to enter the Wu. So I'll go backwards. So Dan.
Can you get the name right? You're killing me softly, man. Like it's Enter the 36 Chambers. A little respect on the name, man. A little respect.
Listen,
Sorry.
pipe down. I didn't say anything about the Scarface slander. Let him talk.
I let that ride. So
It's
I was
enter the
biting my
Wu.
tongue so
It's
bad.
enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chamber. That's the name of the album.
Is it?
It
Yes.
is.
Oh, now
I
I
just
feel
didn't
stupid.
finish the
See?
36 Chambers part, but yeah,
Enter
I'm
the
kind of
Wu-Tang
mid
36 Chambers.
stopping.
Oh, now,
So
okay, so let's
so
go
now
back to the
that's all right.
Scarface slander then.
You can go.
We
You can
could
go.
just pick our
I,
favorite songs
I,
off Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
that's what we're going on to. So Dan, you're
You
first.
know the back in the day when you had to buy ringtones for phones, um, and like they weren't even like the real song. It was like the phone sounding like trying to sound like the song, kind of. Uh, and so I only bought one ever, and it was "Protect Your Neck" by Wu Tang, and that was my ringtone for like forever until better phones came along. So I'm gonna go with that one.
Can I ask you something? Because you're a Knicks fan, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
How did you feel about taking that as an anthem this year, like as a Knicks fan and everything and how everything went down?
I think embracing Wu Tang for the Knicks was great. So I had no problems with that.
Mm.
I like that they like I got to go to one game this year, and it was like a nice mix of like older stuff, newer stuff, like super old stuff. So you know I don't mind a sports team dabbling in nostalgia a bit.
Sure.
Brian, Fuzz, you're up.
Uh, I'll start with Good Choice. That actually was my introduction. Like pre-album, I'm gonna pay homage to Edsboro now. First time I ever heard of Wu-Tang, I saw the Protect Your Neck video on, I believe it was Uncle Ralph's show. And it blew me away. But my favorite song is Method Man.
All right. Ed,
Explain it. I mean, quick
yeah, I mean,
explanation. If y'all knew
Yeah.
me, if
you
y'all
can.
Do it.
knew me in college, you couldn't tell me anything about Method Man. I just like, I'm not a person who likes like necessarily, I need like nature of the threat or some story or something. Sometimes I like just clever rhyming words. And Method Man had that, especially on this song. We had like nursery rhyme cadences and stuff. And I'll say to this day,
Fat Pats and Skunk.
I
Sorry.
don't think anybody, and I stand on this all 10 toes. I don't think there's any rapper that can ride a beat like Method Man that has come around since. I don't think anybody rides a beat like Method Man to this day as an old man. He's still, if you can say what you want about him, but that dude can just hit a beat and go.
All right. Ed,
My favorite is actually the first one I ever heard. There was a kid in my high school who was a DJ, and he was selling his mixtapes, and I heard the mystery of chess boxing, and I was just blown away by the growing up watching kung fu flicks on Fox 5 back in the day, like the
mm,
swordplay, As Dan mentioned, every MC. First of all, that many MCs, I didn't think this was a group. I thought this was a posse cut, like back in the day. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
like the symphony, right? I didn't realize this was a whole conglomerate. Um, Fast forward, then Method Man came out, and then the album came out, and but it's Mystery of Chess Boxing. I think it's probably if I were to introduce a brand new fan to Wu-Tang, I think that's the song I would go because everyone is peak, the production is peak, and it is the ethos of what Wu-Tang is.
What you say is true. Sorry. Kenny, you're next.
All right. And real quick, I didn't want to say one thing. Going back to the Knicks for a minute, that's what makes Game 4's comeback so special is that Wu-Tang was the halftime act. So that's why
Yep,
that game is also known as the Wu game. So
the
big
Wu
shout
game.
out for that. And this is a tough choice. It came down to two songs, but I'm going to go with Shame on Her. Just the way that Meth, Old Dirty, and Ray ride that beat, and just everything about it, the chorus, it's like they were all competing against each other just from the very beginning. So I love that joint.
Is that I'm sitting there going, what
Hut
this
one, hut
what
two, hut
song?
three. I'm sorry.
Old
No,
Dirty
I was gonna
Bastard
say,
live and uncut.
yeah. Cream is I'm just looking over to see what else, which ones, because there's so many, but the whole album, that's this whole the Wu-Tang album. There's so many little things like you were just saying right there, even even the going back and forth, uh
Yeah, I
what
almost picked Can It Be Also Simple. I love that joint too. I almost picked that one.
mm, see. There's little things on this album there's big things as well, but what is a little it could be a chorus or just a little skit because I'm sitting there and when you said it, the first thing I think when you said Method Man, the first thing I'm saying, I'm gonna let that sit burn slow, like let that sit, but I'm the Dave Chappelle, there's a Dave Chappelle skit where he does it in a courtroom, like he's being told about it, and he describes all the things happening to him. It's the funniest skit. It's yeah, but that's the kind of little thing I'm trying to think of. The best rando, the best sort of like it could be a chorus, just could be like 8 bars or something like that. What that you when you think about this album, what kind of little thing that kind of sticks out that you're like this little thing I always think about this album. This always kind of sticks with me. If you can think of that, Brian Fuzz, I keep on calling you Fuzz for no apparent reason. So I'm gonna go back.
There's reasons. There's
No, there's
reasons.
reasons. Fuzz, what you got?
I'm gonna go a little left, not too left, because it's not really anything from either album. I'm gonna say Wu Tang. What really sticks with me is just the change they brought to the industry. Beyond like this is like however many people, 9 people in a group, anything like that. It was 9 people in a group that set an unprecedented record contract where each one of them could go off and find their own record deal for solo work. That had never happened before Wu Tang. Um, with so many things sticking out, it's hard to go left with it. But like when I think Wu Tang, especially when they came out, like that kind of sticks with me the way that like they really paid it forward in the industry. Like they made it, they made people some more money. They made it a little bit easier.
Hmm.
If you're part of a group and you want to branch off. So it might be a bad answer, but that's what sticks out to
No,
me
no,
when Wu
that's
Tang came out and everything.
they
That's what
they
stuck the most.
they came out, like you said, they came out and it was a completely different way to do what they did. It was to come out like that. Dan, what kind of sticks out with you when you think of Wu-Tang? What kind of jumps out with you?
What jumped out to, when I keep thinking back to like when I first heard it and like
Hmm.
was because like it's a moment like if you that early mid '90s, I was a high school kid into hip hop
93.
and and like Ed said, watch those kung fu movies all the time when they like after the Saturday morning cartoons came on, they had the kung fu movies come on after them, and I loved those. And I was just like, how did they come and do all of this stuff? That's like it was like made for me. It's like that's what it felt like. Like, and I mean, they didn't make it for me, obviously, but they, or they probably had no idea that nerdy white kids from the suburbs would like it. But it was like that just struck me like this. All the that combination was unique. It was different. There was like intelligence behind it. Because again, it wasn't just crime rap or just whatever party. It was like all this other mystical, weird stuff going on in there that like just again, for a nerdy kid, it's like you wrote me in like forever. So that's probably what stands out the most for me with that.
Mhm. Ed, when you first think of the Wu-Tang's debut album, 36 Chambers, what do you think of? What kind of the little rando thing that kind of jumps out in your mind?
So there's one rando thing I have. You know the song Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with the
Mm-hmm.
at the end when he's giving the shout outs.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a shout out here
You shout out West
coming through.
Virginia.
Yeah, he goes coming through the crazy YOYO. My people's from the source. My man Kelly Wu from the Gavin. Will Strickland. I know that Will Strickland. He used to be. He played at Rice. Was it Rice? Yeah, he played college ball at Rice after he graduated. He was an A&R, and he was a guy. Again, going back because back in the day, you had to literally hand these tapes to the DJs, and he was going around the screw music scene in Houston handing out this tapes as A&R, trying to get that Wu movement out in Texas. Because Texas, as we discussed a little bit earlier with Face, they have their own vibe that's different from
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta, different from LA. They're all about the screw scene and DJ. Oh man, DJ Screw. What am I talking about? And so bringing it, Will Strickland, who is one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life, who also introduced me to Bobito. But he's one of the smartest people in my life, and just picturing him, going from radio station to clubs to strip joints, spreading the woo to that part of the country. That I have this connection, like, and a good friend of mine too. Like,
Mm.
I don't know, like so far along, like it's weird having this little mini connection to such an iconic album. The other thing is the rest of
Mhm.
the album stunk. I mean, the other albums stunk. They're a one album wonder. And I realize that's a little
Oh, well,
polarizing and
well,
pessimism.
but
Okay,
that's yeah,
but
but we're
to
also
that, hold on, to that. But without going
uh
into too much, I will say that this album just hit the zeitgeist the way it did. That you were talking about being a nerdy white boy in Jersey, and that you could connect to this album as much as Thug Kid from from the projects of Staten Island, and somehow connected to that Houston scene, and LA loved that album. Like the way that it became a global movement. That one album became a global movement. I think because it is a nerdy album. At the end of the day, it is very much a nerdy album, and I think that's kind of cool. It's thugged out, sure. Can it be so simple as it talks about society and all, but it really is a nerdy album.
Kenny, what random thing about the Wu-Tang, Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers stands out for you?
For me, it's the "Where's My Killer" tape skit. The reason for that, because at the time I listened to it, I thought it was just hilarious. It was funny. Is he dead? And maybe fast forward about a year and change later, when I was working in Blockbuster Video organizing shelves, I happened to come across the actual Killer tape, John Woo
Mm,
movie. Took
John
yeah.
that
Woo.
home, watched it, opened
Oh.
up my mind. So watch that, watch Hard Boiled, watch
Yep.
The Better Tomorrow. And just talking about it now, it just brings back memories with me and my friends after listening to Wu-Tang, watching these movies. It's like, wow, John Woo is amazing. The dubs and the explosions and everything. So, yeah, so that's always my big memory. The Where's My Killer tape? It exposed
Where
me a
my
whole
killer
new
tip
different.
at?
As you say that though, it stands to the exact point. You were talking, you have to be such a nerd of Hong Kong shoot 'em up film cinema at that point to know John Woo, who only is doing stuff over in Asia. I mean, no one knows him over here like that. But this guy knows him to the point that he's passing around a killer tape, and that's on the album.
Exactly.
That's some nerdy shit right there. You gotta. That's not anything. That's not you go to the library and it's not in Blockbuster Video.
Absolutely.
It became in Blockbuster Video because because this is on this Wu-Tang album. They now
Exactly.
suddenly
And
hearing
it's the
about it.
backdrop for Only Built for Cuban Links. All these snippets and intro and interludes. That's the killer.
Well, we'll come back to
Yeah.
best
Can I
rando. Oh, go
one
ahead.
little thing to that? One little thing to that. I just looked
Hmm.
it up right now because I wanted to look it up. Wu-Tang came out in 93. So for a lot of American audiences, this was their introduction to John Woo because Face Off, his first American release,
Is
came out in
92.
97.
I
So
was
Right.
gonna
that was
say,
kind
yeah.
of fascinating. That's kind of a fascinating detail that for a lot of American folks, this John Woo was introduced via the Wu-Tang Clan.
Absolutely.
Well, Kenny, what random little thing sticks with you when it comes to OutKast album? I'm trying to think. I was gonna say is it was yeah. I'll
Just
just
the,
leave
the
it there.
story about how they were signed. That the fact that the Dungeon Crew just happened to had them freestyling over the instrumental to the remix for Scenario. And that story was always fascinating. The fact that these kids were rhyming over, what was considered the East Coast beat, and that has always kind of stuck to me. That's the random thing that sticks to me about that album.
Mhm. Ed?
Uh, Atlian stole Southern Playalistic's star, or half a star. Southern Playalistic should have been a 5 mic album when the mics mattered in the Source magazine. I felt like the second album getting 5 mics was a makeup call, a bullshit makeup call. I'm gonna say it right now.
Yeah,
The
yeah, completely.
injustice that Southern Playalistic
I
got,
love AT Aliens. I do love that album,
it
but
is not as
it's
good. I'm
not five
sorry.
mics.
It
It's
is
not five
not as
mics.
good an album as Southern Playalistic. It's just not. I will stand 10 toes on that one. I think so I wish there was a way I can go back in time and give Southern Playalistics it's half the star. It should have been a 5 star, 5 mic album from the Source. To
Yeah.
this day, that bothers
Dan, are you just passing it not getting its five mics in the Source? Is that your random moment or?
No, the thing for me too is that I came backwards into OutKast. So OutKast didn't have like the immediate impact, like because where we
Mhm.
were, it was it was more regional then. I was only so nerdy in the rap. Like I wasn't listening to like every single thing that possibly came out. So like what I like about it is like I like the whole like dungeon family thing, like which gets shouted out like a million times on that record. And the posse cuts are pretty great on the record. And I like what all those guys have done since. So I feel like, again, like it's not nine guys in Wu-Tang Clan, but there's still a little bit of that like familial crew thing going on, which was pretty cool for the Outcast and Dungeon family people.
All right. Well, I will say this before I run it over to Fuzz. Just when I wrote for the Daily Free Press my review of AT Aliens, I wrote the review and I said, this shouldn't be your introduction to Outkast. At the very least, let it just because
it.
it's yeah, it's a great album, but it shouldn't be your introduction. You probably should come in with Southern Playalistic or Players Ball and stuff like that. If you really want to go back, you could go back to Beamer or Benz off the New Jersey Drive soundtrack, because it was like that was something that was palatable to a East Coast audience's ears and stuff like that. But to drop in AT Aliens, it's like you can, but they were throwing off the people down here with the sound, like it says in the album. It's like, yeah, no, y'all. But actually, that goes back onto the third album, which is like, then it was all that space stuff, man. I ain't trying to hear that no more. That verse seed from the anyway. But yeah, it's a very interesting album. Um, so I'll ask
Real
this
quick,
question.
that reminds
Go
me
ahead.
of Martin is the
Mhm.
other like is how still jarring it is when that one guy in that interlude part where it's like, if you don't get it, you're something, you're a cracker. I'm like, God,
Mhm.
like it's like I feel like I was getting called out. So every time, and I know it's coming, but every time I get like, oh, like leave me alone. I'm trying over here.
I'm trying.
You're not, you're a
Speaking of
cracker.
Fuzz, sorry, that was mean, Fuzz. Sorry.
Fuzz, did you have a random thought about the Outcast Southern Playalistic Cadillac?
Well, I forgot you were a freep nerd. Um, but yes, I do. I'm gonna get a little Mason Dixon-y on you. Um, I feel privileged in that I grew up damn near the Mason Dixon line. I'm an East Coast boy in the Mid Atlantic, and because I was, let me tell you, I'm just gonna keep it short. Scarface is probably the most popular rapper ever in the history of Washington D.C. He was like I just say you haven't listened to much Scarface. You could have kept it quick like that. Anyway,
Mhm.
um, I always listen to Southern stuff. I always listen to Northern stuff. Go Go always ruled. Let's not get that messed up. But I never had any biases toward either side. Um, I often would try to get people who have invaded my city from the north to open their mind to Southern music. It wasn't happening. It happened when Outkast came out. So I was like, Outkast really did that. You got people from over here listening to what everybody used to be like, oh, that's country, they trash, they ain't got no lyrics and blah blah blah. Like OutKast really did that. I gotta say, like, can you think of a southern like rap group, rapper that really like bridged that gap of the North and the South as far as fandom?
Not before
For
them.
me, for me, again, Scarface. That was my introduction to that side of rap.
I'll say this. I'll say
But
like Ghetto Boys and Scarface. I feel like they're a little nuanced. Like I feel like even Houston is a little bit like
yeah,
nuanced.
it's
I
its
don't
own
consider
thing.
Houston as southern as Atlanta or
Oh,
Yeah.
they're the
Memphis
southern.
or
Sorry,
wherever we're talking
the
about.
Houston. To your point, the Houston scene, having hung out in Texas, the Houston scene would punch you in the mouth for like calling them southern.
But I mean,
Like
even
it's that.
that, like New
You're,
Yorkers weren't listening to Scarface. Like,
no,
there's
no.
not many New Yorkers. Hold on,
I
there's
I'll say
not
the
many New
Ghetto Boys,
Yorkers.
maybe.
There's, I was gonna say, not many that even listen to Ghetto Boys. Some with Ghetto Boys, but like, let's be real. Even if you want to consider that the South, Scarface, there's a lot of Martins out there that are closed-minded, so they don't,
Yeah.
love him as much. And he didn't really bridge the gap. Not taking anything away from him, but we could throw Scarface in there. We could throw Ghetto Boys in there. I still
to
say Outkast bridged the gap more.
to
Okay.
that point, my introduction to OutKast was one, I was out of the New York City gatekeeper bubble, which Fuzz has a point. I hate saying that about my city, but New York, the five boroughs, especially the Bronx, has a very and understandable the Bronx. They have a very gatekeeper attitude about this is ours, this is our thing, F off. That said, I had to leave New York to get rid of that gatekeeper mentality. The dude that Mike Fox, who introduced me to Southern Playlistic, he's from Flint, Michigan. You know what I mean? Like that's a whole
Mm.
other thing. But he's the one who put me on. Had I not left New York City, I think I become a stereotype. Does that make sense?
Mm.
Like
Absolutely.
I
Totally.
think to Buzz's point, I think my love of Face comes from one hanging out with him, but also like just being out of that New York City five borough bubble. I think that's one of the I think that's why I needed to leave New York at that age, at that time, because I got exposed to so much different other things, and one of those was Southern rap, Atlanta. They had very unique, very different. Just as Ghetto Boys was very unique, very different, and just as Miami Booty Bass, which mentioned earlier, before, very different. To my
Do
head, like
you
yeah, we listened to some Luther, yeah, we listened to some Ghetto Boys, but it was Nas, it was Biggie, it was Big Daddy Kane, it was Rakim. It was a very gatekeeper insular attitude until like NWA came out and trickled in, and Ghetto Boys
so
trickled in it.
let me ask, and I guess this could be for anybody. Is that still possible today? Is that still the same mindset for anybody in anybody's city where it's I only listen to like you're saying because I understand what you're talking about exactly of having that mindset. I don't need to go anyplace else. I can change from 97 from Hot 97 to 107.5. I mean, like I've got other choices. I don't need to go anyplace else but stay in New York. But when you step outside, you can see everything else that's out there. Is
I,
that
look. I'll put it to you like this. Right now, the best five borough New York based hip hop comes from Buffalo. I mean, I don't
okay?
think it's possible to do that anymore. Not in this
Yeah.
interconnected global economy.
There's regional pride still, but to like be stuck in a bubble like that anymore, it's like you almost have to try to do that to yourself because like it's just I mean think back to how like I was thinking like it's so much easier. We talked about this before. So much easier to find and listen to music. Like if someone said to me, "Hey, have you ever heard this?" They could just send me a link. I could listen to one song. Like you couldn't do that back then. Like you had to like tape the radio and know somebody cool enough to know some other, like I have a similar story. Like I didn't really know much outside of the New York stuff until I went to college in Indiana, and my roommate who's from Indiana like was big into the Ghetto Boys. So I listened to like all that, and like some other things like that. If I was stayed in the New York metro area, I wouldn't have heard that stuff until the 90s went on. But like in that beginning, like 93, 94, 95, it was hard to do. Now it's not hard to do. Like you can, your friends can make playlists and they can mix in, any
Well,
region just with,
And
with stuff that I like. So it's a different world because of the access and the connectedness, like you said, Ed.
and to your point, I would go to Canal Street or downtown Brooklyn to go to Beach Street and go to get buy mixtapes. The mixtapes would give you about what was going on in other boroughs, but they weren't telling you what was going on in Philly. Maybe Gilly up to a point. Like they weren't telling you what was going on in Atlanta. They weren't telling you maybe some NWA, but like DJ Enough, Clue, all these guys, they were playing five borough music. And credit to myself of opening my mind because I can be very closed minded. It's just I guess the nature of New Yorkers.
I
But yeah,
no,
I had to take the steps to open my mind and say to myself, it's not just about Brooklyn. It's not just about the Bronx. There's a
so
whole world other there.
I will say that to move on to my next topic, which is who wins the album. Now, this isn't who's the better of the album, but who gets the most out of this album. And to that point, I think the city of Atlanta and it kind of becoming the beacon of Southern rap and everything like that kind of starts from this album, from OutKast and Southern Playalistic, and the South got something to say, and standing up with the Source Awards and everything like that. It only has benefited this city. It only makes it look better. All the people who come from the city stand off of that foundation. And it's a great foundation to jump off of. And it's not like they didn't build more bricks on top of it. So I don't think it's anything wrong to say that that's who. I mean, you could argue OutKast wins the album, but then I could also say that Big Boy's the better rapper on that album than OutKast. There's a lot of empty tracks and empty spaces to it. CeeLo's needed a little bit more than you would want for an OutKast album for it to really sound great and work well. Things like that, which I still love the album, but as far as trying to decide who wins it as an individual, I think Atlanta wins. Kenny, what do you think? Who wins? Who wins OutKast debut album? What do you think?
Who wins out? I'm going with Wu-Tang. I think Wu-Tang wins
I'm
easily. I
talking
think it's
about no. I'm talking about who. I'm talking about now. You know y'all don't understand what I was talking about. I'm saying like
Well, I
on
think what
that.
you mean. I think what you. I think what you.
I know what you're asking. If you want me to go next,
Go
maybe.
ahead, Fuzz. Go ahead,
Go
Fuzz.
ahead.
yeah.
Okay, so just one little bit of specifics. Are we talking about like it doesn't have to be like a city?
No, it could be anything. It could be an artist. It could be a producer. It could be. It could have been Dungeon Family. It could have been. It could have been CeeLo. Wins the album because he does still get up, get out,
Well,
and
I'm
he
a
is. I mean, go
I'm gonna
ahead.
say thank you. I would say you're right with Atlanta, but I think Dungeon Family sounds like a great secondary option. I mean, look at the overflow. You talk about CeeLo
Hmm.
Green. I mean, you could even say Future is overflow from Dungeon Family.
Hmm.
Even today, Future is one of the biggest anywhere, not just Atlanta. Like, I mean, if you think of that roll off with all the people who got big and Dungeon Family worked with, yes, I'll go with that one.
All right. There's no wrong answer.
I
No, but I
to
think
me,
I
I
think you
don't.
have the best. Like Atlanta, definitely like Outkast did a lot for Atlanta.
I feel you on Atlanta. I do. And you're not wrong. Like you said, there's no wrong answer. But to me, the winner was the South, period. Whether you're in New Orleans, whether you're in Miami, the fact is they kicked out, the Source Awards, everyone's already East Coast this, West
Ed,
Coast that. And
Ed,
they said, yes.
the BOA building there shows you where I am, and I'll say from here, every place south of us is Atlanta. Y'all lucky to not be Atlanta, basically. You Florida, you might as well just you send your
No,
best you send your best here. Your best want to come here. This is the siren call.
I
The same way everybody says, I want to go to New York and everybody like that. Everybody in the South says, I want to go to Atlanta. This is
I
where
hear
they
you, but
come. That's
I hear
all.
you, but I'm talking about kicking the door open for Cash Money to come in. I'm
I
talking
know.
kicking in the door for No Limit to come in. I'm
Look,
talking
I was
kicking in
trying to
the
get my
door
Atlanta
for
card stamped. I was trying to get my Atlanta
no,
card stamped, but go ahead,
I hear you.
continue.
I got you. I got you. I mean, I ain't got you. I can't help you with that. But what I think is, they kicked the door open for Suave House and Swisher, and
Hmm.
they kicked the door open for it didn't. It reminded everyone, hey, there's a middle part of the country too. It's not just NWA. It's not just Wu-Tang. There's all of this in the middle. And while, yeah, East and West were popping in those areas like, well, we got our sound too. And I think that album and just out the presence of OutKast blowing up into the mainstream did kick open, did give the opportunity to a Juvenile, to a Lil Wayne, to a Master P. You know what I mean? That there is opportunity and money, because again, it always comes down to money. Money can be made off Southern rap. Maybe us
Oh,
East Coast folks snubbed our
I
nose. Maybe our West
you
Coast
say
people
that,
did too. But
I
but
laugh because there's a generation of women of all colors, shapes, and sizes that are going to hear the first notes of "Back That Ass Up" and know exactly what they're just going to hear. Doom, they're all going to start
Right.
going, "What? Their
you
heads are
can
going to
play
start
that.
turning. Go
You can
ahead.
play that at a bar mitzvah. To this day, you can play that at a bar mitzvah. There's gonna be no ass having Jewish ladies backing that ass up. It's
Exactly.
that song, and we don't get that without Southern Playalistic. That's just the reality. That album is so foundational to the history of hip hop. I got scrimped on for describing it as being kind of a Beatlesque, like the White Album. Like that's how much of an important album Southern Playalistic is to the hip hop history. I put it there
That's
on
a great way
par
to
with the
describe it.
Beatles. I put it up there with the Beatles and the White Album.
On there, Dan. Who wins the album? That's what we might get a little lost. But who wins the album?
Okay. Well, I was going to go with Dungeon Family, just creating the sound, but since we did that one, another winner I think is the like mainstreamization of Pimpin'. Because like that whole cult, like there's a moment from like around then, kind of continues to this day, but like where it was like, you know, it was a glorified thing as opposed to a criminal thing.
What it is.
You know,
No,
what it is.
But you know, it wasn't like
well,
it was, you know, the whole players ball thing of like we're celebrating ourselves and look at, and you know, there was a, you know,
that is
it got mainstreamed.
It's mainstream because at that time you're getting a little bit of the rise of Ric Flair and the whole WCW and that, I mean, the showmanship of that, because he'd come to the ring and I got all the beautiful ladies coming with me and they're in the limousine and everything like that, which is an extension of the pimping type lifestyle that you're talking about, which is look at all this flash, look at all these beautiful women I've got on my arms and everything like that. Yeah, it's not like that when it comes to Wu-Tang.
And then next thing you know, you've got Jay-Z doing a song with UGK and like, and then you've got like, you know, the Players Ball being aired on like HBO or whatever. So, you know, it's just one of those things.
Up, hose down.
So I'll swap over to 36 Chambers. Kenny, with the explained assignment now, who wins 36 Chambers? Who wins that album?
I think the winner of that album is probably Method Man, because he pretty much dropped ill verses on just about every song that he was on, and that just opened it up for his solo album and just for him just to really become kind of like the de facto leader of Wu-Tang for a minute, at least until the other albums dropped. So I think the big winner on that album was Method Man.
Okay, Ed.
Sorry, I had to plug back in. The big winner is Staten Island. Because nobody respected Staten Island for anything, let alone hip hop. And then when I heard these guys were from Staten Island, I was like, "What? There's black folk in Staten Island?" Like, that's a stupid thing to say in hindsight, but like,
it's not.
Because like the perception.
I didn't know, but you're pretty close. You should have known.
The perception, but that's what I'm saying. Like Staten Island, I remember going when I played high school ball, which I had no business playing high school ball on 5-5. I'm a leprechaun, but I had no business. But when we would take that road trip to Wagner or Tottenville, or like, I hated those road trips. They were miserable. I hated Staten Island. You know, the stands were very, very white. Even it was such a different vibe. It felt like Bensonhurst.
Can I just say, when you said that, when you first said those first two things, I was going to say, it sounds like you're describing like you were moving around in FA clubs or something like that. You said like Wagner and Tottenham Hill. I'm like, wait, you're not playing soccer. What the hell is going on? It shouldn't sound that way.
but no, I'm not. But it's to me the big winner.
I understand.
And so there were certain, the perception before Wu-Tang was that Staten Island was a place where cops, firefighters, and retired mobsters lived. That's just how it was perceived.
Yeah.
And so to hear this sound to this day, there's great pride.
Are you agreeing, or you?
I'm 100% agreeing. It's 100% agreeing.
Yes, that's what I thought. It's like, yeah, no, it's Staten Island. Yeah, that's not. It would never have been that. So I'll ask you then. So if that was going to be who won the album for you, if not, then who wins the album for you?
It's hard to argue with what Ed just said, but if I'm just to continue I think the RZA and like his like the vision that he had for not just like the sound, but like Kenny said, like the contract, like the way that he wanted that whole thing to come to being, like, and it worked as well as it did, like that, like the visionary genius of the RZA is the winner of that album.
Buzz, that's kind of that's what I was going to go with. Do you have a different opinion?
I mean, I'm going to say, as somebody who can't take public transportation to Staten Island, I have to dispute it, because as somebody who can't take public transportation to Staten Island, I pretty much have like a 0.01% different view on Staten Island after Wu-Tang dropped. Like, I don't know. That comes across as very regional, because I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's me. I don't know. But I'll say RZA, yeah. RZA is I'm thinking of winners. RZA is the biggest winner. Let's throw in John Woo and Run Run Shaw. They may not have made some money for a long time. For the people who don't know, Run Run Shaw did like all the big like kung fu flicks that are sampled in Wu-Tang, like Five Deadly Venoms, Shogun Assassin, all that. They have a huge catalog that I'm sure got rejuvenated after Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
I bought the Five Deadly Venoms DVD like right after that, almost immediately,
Yeah.
just
But
because.
that probably did not go to Run Run Shaw. You were probably on Canal or something. Or maybe that was like a downtown Brooklyn purchase. I don't know.
All right.
No comment.
It's a celebration. It's a celebration, but we do have to get to some sort of conclusion. So who moves on? One of these albums is going to move on to the final four. Is it 36 Chambers or Southern Playlistic? Uh, Ed, I'll start with you so that we can slowly get to the end.
Sure. I think Wu-Tang wins, though they won the battle, this battle. I think OutKast won the war, and that they have an actual catalog, a brilliant catalog at that. And Wu-Tang has one album. That is it. But that one album, it's kind of like being a prize fighter like Deontay Wilder. He has one weapon, one gimmick, but that gimmick was a nuke in his left hand. Same thing with Wu-Tang. The gimmick works, everything works. It's one of the most brilliant hip hop albums of all time, and to me, 36 Chambers wins by a nose. Like it just that this album has stood the test of time, is still in the zeitgeist, still discussed the way it is. One album, but I think OutKast won the war. But I go 36 Chambers.
Dan?
Wait. Hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
You said OutKast won the war.
Yeah,
I'm going 36. So you.
no. I'm saying this battle, Wu-Tang wins, and they have the better debut album. But overall career, again, I will put the OutKast. I will die on the hill that that OutKast are the Beatles of hip hop. They matter that much.
Can I bring longevity into it? Because I got a pretty different look.
Well, then, okay. Fuzz, I'll let you go ahead and counter there. So who moves on?
I mean, I'll say first. I think in my mind, I was gonna say, and I don't know, I was gonna say Wu-Tang just based on the fact that OutKast has broken up and they're not doing reunions or anything. Dre found the flute. So when that happens, not taking anything away from the legacy or anything, but when that happens, like, what are you gonna do? I just saw Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang's in Europe right now. Like, I just saw a movie by RZA. You know, like it's Wu-Tang they're riding it out, and I'm not knocking OutKast. I'm actually gonna pick OutKast's album, but I think that OutKast just via the breakup is like we can't say that like they're going beyond Wu-Tang because we talked about the Knicks, Wu-Tang, the Wu game. There's no cast game because they're broken up.
Well,
they're broken up.
The Hawks suck.
That would be the professional.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying they've reached the finish line. That's all I'm saying. We don't have anything from this point forward except Wu. Except Wu.
Well, I will make the slight counter argument that, which is what Ed was saying, is the Wu. Yes, the Wu does have a continuation, but they truly have this one album. Everything else that we're talking about is off of everybody else's individual thing.
I picked OutKast's album.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying, but everybody else, the Wu is survived off of their individual acts, off of Raekwon being Raekwon and Ghostface being this and Jizza doing this and Method Man doing this.
OutKast could have done that the same with less people to have to do it.
Unpopular opinion, I think Built for Cuban Links is a better album than 36 Chambers. How about them albums?
There's the Purple album has its own. I was
gonna
say the Purple album has its own legacy.
Purple album is one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. Yeah, that's not a lot of.
I tell you, Liquid Swords is my personal favorite of all that stuff.
Classic.
Wow.
You talk
classic.
front to end, Liquid Swords. Front to like start to finish.
That's the debate I kind of want to have someday.
Yeah,
I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
Yeah, that's Wu's debut album.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's an interesting question. Here's an interesting question. So I'll go if you don't mind, Martin.
Go ahead. No, please go ahead.
What was surprising to me? So I thought for me Wu-Tang was going to run away with it, and then the more time I spent with the OutKast album, I'm like I came to appreciate it a lot more. So like I still think Wu-Tang moves on. I still think it's a top to bottom more powerful record, but like I was just personally for like I had that gatekeeper mentality, you know what I mean? So like I never spent a lot of time. And then like the poppier side of OutKast, I'm not a pop music guy, so like I get a little turned off. But I'm coming back to it as I got older.
When you say the pop music side, what do you mean? Oh, of OutKast. I'm sorry, I
Just
thought you was.
of
I know
OutKast. Yeah, when like
exactly.
OutKast.
I think he's talking like the
as far as
sound, the pop,
yeah,
more
yeah,
pop.
yeah. No,
I
no.
think, and specifically, I think he means love below and speaker box.
Some of that,
Because
like
I'm thinking only of this first album. That's why I was going. Wait, no, I
I
wasn't
got
thinking
you.
in terms of the future
no, no,
aspect of it. Yeah, no, definitely.
yes,
In the future. It's a different. It's not that. It's not this.
for
It's
sure.
not their
I
debut.
was just saying as a personal journey, just to come back to this album from OutKast, it's
Mm,
way better than I thought it was. Like
mm,
having gone back and revisited for this, like I thought it was like I always thought it was solid, but then I come back, I'm like, actually, this is pretty brilliant. So it was a lot closer in my mind. I do want to say though, like, do you really not count the solo? So because of the way Wu-Tang was set up,
mhm.
those solo projects are Wu-Tang projects in my mind. Like
Okay.
those are all like Wu-Tang
Mm.
has had one good collective album and like a couple of
Okay.
good like songs, some great songs on other albums, but never a collective album as good as this one. But like Takal and Liquid Swords and Built for Cuban Links and Iron Man, like those are all Wu-Tang projects, like in my mind,
Those
because
are
like
all rookie.
they're all
Yes,
in,
those are all debut albums, but you already knew about these artists and had heard them rap on a released album.
No,
That's
I think what he's saying though
it's
is that these should
uh,
count as Wu albums and not individuals. Is what he's saying. Am I
right.
wrong? I'm
Like
sorry.
yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying because Wu was like it's still the RZA making the
okay.
production. It's
Okay.
still like, multiple guys on it, just not all of them, and it wasn't put out as Wu. But like that's how RZA had the vision for it. Was like introduce
Mhm.
everybody through this first album, and then have the people kind of split off and do their
Yeah,
different things. But
like an
all those
MCU
albums
thing
are
where
sonically similar because RZA made them, and they still sound like Wu-Tang albums, not like again, eventually it gets a little different, after
I see
like
what you mean. They yeah.
a while. But I feel like that first stable of solo projects are Wu-Tang albums. That's my personal way I think
That's
about it.
fair.
That's
That's
fair.
Okay.
fair.
Yeah. I mean, yes. So Kenny, who's on?
Wu-Tang, absolutely. And it's similar to Dan.
Again and
At
again.
first, I like the OutKast album. It's a lot better than I thought it was. But the Wu-Tang album is just amazing. Just top to bottom, it's just an amazing album. And then also one other thing I want to add is that Wu-Tang Forever is not as bad as people make it out to be. Are there a bunch of tracks on there that really could have been left on the ending for? Absolutely, but there's a lot of bangers on there. Triumph, The World Is Yours, A Better Tomorrow.
I don't think anybody's not saying there aren't
I'm,
banger
Yeah.
tracks.
it's just they
MGM,
fell
MGM,
victim to
MGM
the
is
double
underrated.
album thing. A lot of I think
Oh
pop.
yeah,
Yeah.
It was
All
an
Eyes
era.
on Me, a great single album.
Mm.
right.
Wu-Tang Forever, a great like almost all in that era. Like if you
Oh,
take those double
absolutely.
albums, none of them
What's it
should have been
called?
double albums.
What's
Yeah,
the
it's even
And
Life After Death and
Life
even
After Death?
even
I'm
it-
sitting there going, what is Biggie's second album that really should have been one album
even
that
in
was
rock,
just
that's
like,
just
even in
All those
even
double
hold on,
albums
hold
should
on.
have been one
right.
album.
Even and that's across genres because even in rock music, Use Your Illusion 1 and Use Your Illusion 2 should have been one Use Your Illusion.
That
Just
should have been one
one
album.
illusion. Yeah, so
Did they come
it's
together?
across.
Did they come out
Yes,
together? I didn't even know.
Yeah,
yeah, they
yeah,
did.
yeah, and it was
Yeah,
bloated
Just
as hell.
so
one
Atlas is
album.
actually pretty good. Yeah, that's
Why not
Use Your
just call
Illusion
the
should be one
album
album.
Use Your Illusion?
Exactly.
It's
Like
that
and
between
It
one
was
and two that threw me off. I was like, wait, together? Double album?
it was an
it was
era
a
of
double.
bloat. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was a way to sell more CDs because that's what if you can
exactly.
sell
That
a
it
double
counted
CD,
as
That's
two.
you
true.
pay $40
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
instead
lot
of
easier to
20.
go gold and platinum if you sold two CDs. Absolutely
yep.
right.
we
Yeah,
can
so
charge
it was
you
a marketing
more.
ploy that
Yeah,
yeah.
It worked because we all bought double albums and had
absolutely.
one
We
album
get
you
so
sit there
much
going,
music.
yeah.
Yeah. And quick funny story about the Wu-Tang Forever. So my cousin bought me the vinyl for Christmas a few years back, and no joke, it's literally like 10 albums. Because
Whew.
oh, it's
Oh, the
hilarious. It's
vinyl
like
of it. The
side one,
vinyl
it's
of
like
yeah.
introduction,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
reunited, flip
Mhm.
over.
Yeah.
I just
The
got the
vinyl
Black
of
album,
it.
Metallica's Black album on vinyl.
I'm
Sorry.
shaking my head remembering that because that came in. I want to say that comes the Forever comes out in what 90, 98, 98,
That's
A
about right.
99.
little
Yeah.
earlier than
Feel
that.
like
When
yeah,
I'm
90,
98
still
I
sounds
was like
right.
96,
98 sounds
97.
right.
I'm still at BU, so I'm still at close enough to the radio station that I get the promo for Wu-Tang Forever. So I had that CD early. So I also then had the vinyl because we're still pushing out to track. So I gave that vinyl to Snicker at one point because I was like, "Yo, we got to play
Oh,
this."
shout out to DJ Snicker.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So you say that? So I remember going, "Yeah, no, that would have been this huge thick book of vinyl that was like,
Right.
here you go," and then trying to crate that around in those in a lunch cart, lunch
Yeah.
cartons and stuff like
By
that.
the way,
Okay.
I do appreciate Wu-Tang Forever because that album with Gravel Pit, I think it was Wu Flag or whatever the hell, Iron
Mhm.
Flag, whatever it's
Oh,
called.
Iron Flag. Yeah.
Oh, that album was trash. Holy
Yeah, it
crap!
was.
It
That
had
was
Gravel Pit.
horrible.
Gravel Pit was okay, but that was in
Oh, Gravel. Yeah,
that's
Gravel Pit was a banger.
but
Yeah. All right.
that
Yeah,
So
Iron Flag,
Did you
and
ever
then
hear the
the
one
W
that
was
the
even worse.
pharma Nazi bought?
I'm sorry.
no,
Oh, Once
I've never.
Upon a Time in Shaolin. Oh, I don't think nobody's ever listened to
I'm not rich enough to
No,
listen to it.
they've like I've heard snippets. All I need is
That
snippets. I don't need any
it.
more. Yeah, I'm
say
good.
less.
I'm good.
Okay, but we've
And all I
all
could
I'm
think is
too.
he paid that
I
much
am.
money.
I am too
to be able to say he
peasant to
has
be
it.
able to listen to that
Yeah.
album.
But that's the whole point of it now is I can say I have this, I heard it. You can't hear it because I own. Well, that's
He had it for like a month and they locked him up.
wow. Well,
Uh,
no one
Could have been
said
bail
that.
money, but
I
hey,
was
Should
gonna
have been a
say
pharma Nazi.
yeah. Well, I'm not gonna try and defend that, but I can use that as a way to get out. So we've decided Wu-Tang is gonna move on. It's not necessarily begrudgingly, but it's with acknowledging that the Super Southern Playalistic is an absolute classic album as well. And we'll see what happens as we move on within the tournament. But this will end with a trivia question, as they all do. It's a numerical one. So Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers was selected by the Library of Congress for the National Recording Registry in 2022. I never understand. So it basically means that there is now a copy of this album in the National Record Registry. So when what? I guess 100, 200 years from now, when we're all dead and gone, that will remain and exist. Is that
It's a
kind of what that
deep
sounds
That's
like?
archive.
it. Yeah.
Listen,
yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
the DC guy.
Okay,
yeah.
so go ahead.
It's a deep archive is what the honor of it is that they're gonna make sure it's there, like a time capsule type thing.
Okay, well,
But
Yeah.
it's very esteemed. Like
no,
they
definitely.
don't do it for everybody.
I
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
saying
that's
it. I
that's
wasn't trying to
a
say it like it
yeah,
was.
that's an honor that goes
But
to
it's the
very
fact of
important
just
albums, like
like
your
Yeah,
songs in the key of life, and I
yeah,
think even
yeah,
Illmatic was also selected.
it's
yes,
Yeah,
it's
not
yes, it
it's
everybody.
is.
it's just kind of like it's the archive of archives, but it's
Hmm.
also like how protected and how long this will be protected and put away
How
for.
important it is.
Yeah,
That's
don't they
Yeah.
press it on something special too? Like it's not just like a regular like recording. It's like they
No,
put it
they
on
have
some.
stuff. I've actually seen it. They have there's like a listing where you can go and they
okay.
have like pictures and stuff like that. They have the list of the whole registry. You can
In
actually
the
look at the registry.
in the
Awesome.
on the registry's website,
I
the
can't
essay
believe I picked
written
against this
by
album.
Well,
Jesus.
they have stuff
the
there too. Yeah, but
essay written
No, I know,
by
but
Gregory S. Parks says, quote, the lineup of these legendary rappers is one of the reasons this album is credited as one of the finest albums the genre has ever produced. The clips that everyone was talking about and recites helps. Parks notes that they are from martial art movies Shaolin and Wu-Tang and 10 Tigers from Kwantung. Those are the two movies that those are from. Stop looking on your phone. What 2 years were those films released? And as you're trying to race to get a number, what 2 years are those released?
I'm sorry. I lost track. I was that kid in class right now. Like I what was the question again? Sorry.
Dan, what 2 years was Shaolin and Wu Tang and 10 Tigers from Kwantung released?
So there, and this is like so you want like two answers. Like one was in one was the other.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say like 71 and 75.
71 and 75. Fuzz,
go 73, 74.
73, 74. Kenny,
72 and 76.
72, 76. Ed,
76 and 77.
76 and 77. Those are the numbers. Thanks for listening. However, whether on Spotify or Pandora, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a comment. You can watch this and every matchup in the RDAT tournament, which is saying tournament twice, at youtube.com /at terminal podcast. It's the channel for all your questions. The answer to tonight's trivia question will be in the description for this episode. Gentlemen, thank you all very much. I'll be back soon enough with hopefully something better to put down. Take it easy down your life's highway and have a good evening.